11 News. Coverage you can count on.
Good afternoon, everyone. New at noon, the UK is the first in the race to vaccinate, now rolling out the Pfizer vaccine. How soon we could get the vaccine here in the U.S.?
Pennsylvania, we have a problem. COVID-19 is spreading dangerously everywhere in the Commonwealth.
A dire warning from Governor Wolf. He is pleading with people to stay home to help stop the spread of COVID.
That's my biggest thing, I think, with anybody. COVID or not passing away, they shouldn't pass away alone.
A local ICU nurse sharing his experience from the front lines, his plea as COVID cases surge. And breaking now, UPMC says that it can take care of all COVID-19 patients and all non-COVID patients at their hospitals, despite the surge in cases. And in the last 45 minutes, UPMC told us its action plan for the vaccine. New documents suggest the FDA will approve Pfizer's vaccine for use in the U.S. on Thursday. The documents show the vaccine meets its criteria for success and also did not raise any specific safety concerns. If emergency use authorization is granted, Pfizer could begin shipping vaccines by this weekend. UPMC says the first doses will go to healthcare workers and they will be voluntary.
So it's impossible to predict when we will be able to vaccinate everybody. However, given what we understand about manufacturer development of the vaccine and production of the vaccine and plans for distribution, we are optimistic that we will be able to vaccinate our healthcare workforce very soon.
Very good news. UPMC says it plans to use both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines once approved. The Pfizer vaccine will be for healthcare workers. The Moderna vaccine will be for long-term care residents. In both cases, 2 shots are needed. For the first time, a local nurse is sharing his story with us, what he's seeing and experiencing as hospitals are being hit hard. Our Amy Hudak shares his story and his warning for all of us.
Nurses in the ICU on the COVID floor say from the day they walked through the front doors here at Excella and treated their first COVID-19 patient, they were changed as humans. They walked us through the past 9 months, what it's been like on the front lines, and their message for the community.
You know, knowing that sometimes when I leave my shift, knowing that that patient probably won't be there when I go in the next time, you know, it's a little bit hard after getting to know their family.
James Wirt says he sees COVID-19 robbing families of the dignity of saying goodbye.
You know, you have to FaceTime the family. You have to talk to the family. It's hard because whenever you have 2 COVID patients, when you have 2 COVID patients or anything and you can't be in their room, and that's my biggest thing, I think, with anybody. COVID or not passing away, they shouldn't pass away alone.
In March, Wirt was a brand new nurse assigned to the ICU, forced into fast-tracked training when the first COVID-19 patient in Westmoreland County was admitted on his watch.
And then it led into an intubation, which was, you know, a very kind of scary experience for all of us involved.
9 months later,
you know, we didn't see the worst of it till now.
Wirt says nothing compares to what he's experiencing on the front lines.
We were now the unit that was, you know, we watched on TV, these people that we saw, you know, in New York taking care of these patients, you know, moving patients out of beds so we could fit more COVID patients. You know, somebody comes in with a heart attack, but we don't have a bed.
There aren't enough vendors to rework the ventilation in COVID rooms. Outside of Excella, wooden slabs and buckets meet the demand for now. Healthcare workers say they're picking up extra shifts and bracing for what comes next.
We're not seeing Thanksgiving. We're not going to see Christmas for another, you know, month or 2. As well, which is why I just, you know, I think we should rethink kind of everything that we do. The simplest act of kindness you can do right now is just wear a mask.
Our healthcare heroes say they take it day by day, patient by patient.
You know, to have their families, you know, not be there and you have to call them and say, you know, we took them off of life support and then, you know, have to call later and say they passed. I think it's one of the hardest things.
But Wirt says there is hope for an end to this pandemic and an end to people suffering from COVID-19. We're just not quite there yet.
One of my idols always says, you know, if you want the rainbow, you have to put up with the rain. And I feel like right now we are in a torrential downpour. But I do see that rainbow, and I do think that there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
And the Port Authority is offering grief counselors to workers after 2 of their own passed away from COVID. 57-year-old Marlon Lucas was a driver. He was a father, a husband, a member of the Christian Fellow community.
He was like an oak tree. I would say sit next to Marlon because he'll provide the shade that you need, the comfort that you need.
And bus driver Patrick Hazlitt also passed away. He was in the hospital for 10 days before he died yesterday morning. Channel 11 spoke with his family. They say Patrick talked about how some passengers would actually cough in the face of drivers who asked them to wear masks. And we want to remind all of you, from our healthcare heroes to other frontline workers, if you need mental health resources as we are navigating our way through these challenging times, we have a list of organizations on our WPXI mobile app offering help, and you can also find that same list on WPXI.com. Now back to the vaccine. The world's fight against COVID took a very big step forward today. People in the UK started getting the Pfizer vaccine.
Well, I would say go for it. Go for it because it's free and it's the best thing that's ever happened at the moment. So please go for it.
It's a program that is offering hope to the rest of the world and could provide valuable insights to health officials here in the U.S. NBC's Richard Engel reports from the hospital where the first dose was given to that lady you just heard in Coventry, England.
At 6:31 this morning, Margaret Keenan, who turns 91 next week, became the first person ever given a tested and vetted COVID vaccine outside of trials. In the UK, they're calling her Patient A.
It was fine. It was fine. I wasn't nervous at all. I don't know what to say. It's just overwhelming. It's the first, really.
In a donated Christmas sweater, she's in good spirits. After the shot, she had a cup of tea.
Well, I think I'll have a little rest.
Keenan, who was already hospitalized and worked in a jewelry shop until just 4 years ago, has a message for others.
Well, I'd say go for it. Go for it because it's free and it's the best thing that's ever happened.
She's expected to be discharged and go home later today. At 50 hospitals across the UK today, the rollout began. The ground offensive counterattack against the coronavirus. British officials have declared this V-Day for Vaccination Day. Back in Coventry, the nurse who gave the first injection, May Parsons, 17 years experience, told me this is the start of a new chapter.
For me to be able to offer that to Margaret today as the first one, I feel very privileged and thankful and proud. So hopefully we'll see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Everyone here is talking about a fresh start, the beginning of the end of the pandemic.
They're starting off slowly. At this hospital alone, they're planning to do just around 100 vaccinations today, but then to ramp that up to 400 vaccinations a day next week and keep it going 7 days a week.
The vaccination program, the biggest in the UK and eventually the world, is off and running. The elderly, the vulnerable, and those who care for them are the first in line. It's a marathon, no doubt, but the starting gun has finally been fired.
Richard Engel, NBC News, Coventry, UK.
The Plum School District has a new way to track COVID cases. It's separating them by school. It also monitors active cases, ongoing outbreaks, and quarantine times for staff and students. It's broken down building by building. The latest cover of Time magazine calls 2020 the worst year ever. They say it was a combination of things: the pandemic, nationwide protests, the economic downturn. It also mentions the deaths of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Kobe Bryant. Now, Washington has been crumbling, and now the city is getting some much-needed help. $10 million to stop the slides. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond shows us where that money will go.
You can't beat this view from Mount Washington. It's why people want to live up here, and it's why others want to visit. But it's what you can't see from here that's about to get some much-needed attention to prevent this natural asset from slipping away. The city just received a federal grant of $10 million. It plans to use the money to stabilize the slopes of Mount Washington to minimize landslides. They'll be focusing on areas along Grandview, William, and Greenleaf. Landslides like this one back in 2018 on Greenleaf have been happening repeatedly over the last 10 years. One longtime resident of Mount Washington says the work is necessary.
This view is a treasure, not just for those of us that live up here, but also for the whole community, as well as those that come to travel here, the visitors. This is one of the attractions, something that brings visitors to the city. So to preserve this view is really so important.
The city knows the importance and keeps pumping money into this hillside. Millions of dollars of work has already been done, especially after this slide forced people to evacuate. And millions more still needs to be done to keep people safe. So when are they going to start on all this work, and when's it going to be finished? Tonight at 5, I'll let you know what I find out. Reporting from Mount Washington, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
Well, another gloomy day, cloudy, breezy. Meteorologist Danielle Dozier joins us with the forecast. Any better news, Danielle?
Well, we could get a few breaks later this afternoon in the cloud cover, Peggy, but that's about all I have for you today. We're taking a look right now at our visible satellite. You can see that extensive cloud cover across our area, but as I mentioned, the model data has been hinting at a few breaks in the clouds, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. The temperatures right now are ranging from 32 in Pittsburgh to 34 in Butler and 33 in Beaver, so it is a cold afternoon, and it feels even colder because our winds are breezy today. Right now, our wind chill in Pittsburgh is 22, so the heavy coat's in order if you are stepping out the door. Here's our forecast for the next few hours. Highs are only climbing to about 35 degrees today, and mostly cloudy sky will prevail. I'm going to have your wind forecast because I think it's going to stay breezy today, and we'll take a look at the wind chill forecast for the rest of the afternoon and our next chance for rain coming up.
Thanks, Danielle. Once you get a COVID vaccine, there's a new hurdle. How do you prove it? What millions of Americans might have to do if they plan on taking a flight or going to a concert. You might get a strange call saying Amazon is having a hard time processing your order. What you should not do if you get that message. The governor is calling on all of us to stay home and stay safe. Why one business owner we spoke to agrees with the governor, even though he's losing customers. For the past 9 months, we've heard from business owners angry about the impact lockdowns and restrictions have had. But we spoke with one man who understands that even though the restrictions are hurting his business, there's a much bigger picture to look at. Chris Weck owns this chocolate shop in downtown Pittsburgh. He opened up to us after hearing Governor Wolf yesterday call on everyone to stay home. Weck says that's not something he likes to hear. He's worried he'll lose more business, but says we have to think about what healthcare workers treating COVID patients are going through.
They probably are worked around the clock, and they probably are doing too much, and they are risking their lives and putting themselves in a hard position.
And Weck knows that in order to keep patient numbers down at hospitals, it's going to take an effort from business owners like him and the rest of the community to be safe. Another local nightclub has been shut down for breaking coronavirus rules. On Friday, the health department closed Cosmo on Carson on the south side. Inspectors say employees and customers were not wearing masks, and customers were not social distancing. Also, alcohol was being served without food. Cosmo on Carson will have to submit a new COVID safety plan before it can get the okay to reopen. With a new federal stimulus package still in limbo, many people on unemployment could face a tough situation. There are more than 1 million Pennsylvanians on unemployment right now. And as we end the year, some people have already exhausted their 26 weeks of state unemployment. That's when federal pandemic relief kicks in. But for it to continue, Congress would have to pass a deal before the end of the month.
Unless Congress passes an extension, nearly 500,000 Pennsylvanians will abruptly lose benefit payments.
If Congress does not pass a deal, people getting that 13-week benefit extension will be cut off. However, they can turn back to the state's extended benefit program to help. Every day it seems like a new scam warning. The latest one coming in the form of a robocall from what looks like Amazon or Apple. And this one, it's pretty convincing. New at noon, Channel 11's Mike Holden spoke with a local man who was caught off guard by the call.
A major warning is coming out from the Federal Trade Commission. Don't fall for those robocalls or people posing as Amazon employees giving you a direct call. They say scammers are back with a vengeance this holiday season and after your most personal information. With online shopping sales surging in the middle of the pandemic and many of us prepping for Christmas and Hanukkah, crooks are certainly taking notice. The BBB and FTC are warning of a rise in fraud cases targeting Amazon and Apple customers. It happened directly to Channel 11 viewer Glenn Steinmetz in Etna. He got a call yesterday claiming his Amazon account had been compromised and he was facing a more than $700 charge. He noticed the call was coming from a local area code, but he said something felt very odd and he hung up immediately. When he checked his Amazon account, he realized there were no additional charges. He warns everyone to follow their gut instinct and be smarter than the person on the other end of the phone.
The 412 was kind of a tip-off that was that, and it just seemed crazy because basically the 412 number.
And the BBB, as well as the FTC, say when in doubt, hang up immediately and don't give out any more information. We're now asking them the #1 way to spot the scam and perhaps the biggest red flag. That part of the story is coming up for Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting this afternoon, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
An early Christmas present for someone in Beaver County. They bought a scratch-off lottery ticket and it was worth $3 million. The ticket was sold at Caivano's tobacco outlet in Aliquippa. The winner paid $30 for the winning ticket.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Sky right now. The temperature is only in the lower 30s, so it is another cold day out there, and we've had a bit of a breeze as well with occasional gusts to about 20 miles per hour. Right now it is freezing, but it feels like 22, so if you are heading out, make sure you have your heavy coat on. Taking a look at our forecast today, 35 degrees and maybe a few breaks in the clouds later on for that mostly cloudy sky. West winds 5 to 15, gusting to 20 miles per hour. Winds right now are sustained up to 14 14 in the city and in Greensburg. It's a 12-mile-per-hour wind for us in Washington. So these sustained winds will be as high as 15 this afternoon, and as I mentioned, could gust even higher. Our hour-by-hour wind forecast does show those sustained winds this high, but we do start to see them come down by later in the afternoon. So around 4:30, winds right around 5 to 10 miles per hour, and they'll stay there through the evening at about 8 p.m. When you factor in the wind to the air temperature, you get what it feels like to your exposed skin. So it does feel like the upper 20s for us for the afternoon, and of course the heavy coats will be necessary as we head out the door this evening for any groceries that you may be getting. Here's a look at our storm tracker maps to let you know that the cloud cover does continue. I wanted to walk you hour by hour through this because we have been seeing over the last couple of days just a few snowflakes. However, the moisture is really deprived in the atmosphere, so I do expect today to remain fairly dry across a good part of the area. You can see here at 3:30 this afternoon a few breaks in the clouds according to this particular weather model, and as we head toward the evening time frame, the clouds fill right back in. So any breaks we may get will be short-lived. The cloud cover will win out, I think, especially once again as we head into tonight. Overnight low in Pittsburgh about 30 degrees with occasional gusts to 20 miles per hour. So once the winds die off a little toward the evening, it looks like they may pick back up overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we're climbing near average, looking at a high temperature near 42 degrees, and the winds will be 5 to 15 miles per hour out of the west-southwest. Tomorrow, we do have a weak weather disturbance that'll be crossing up to our north. That'll be leading to a chance for a few flurries across the area, maybe even a little light snow along the I-80 corridor. We'll keep you posted. Some of the data has been more consistent across far northern eastern Pennsylvania and central Pennsylvania with that. 5-day forecast and your weekend always in view, and the temperatures do climb. We are still looking at highs in the upper 40s Thursday with decreasing clouds. Friday, partly sunny with high temperatures in the lower 50s. That's going to feel like a heat wave to us outside after the colder weather we have been experiencing. So temperatures by Friday are roughly 10 degrees above average. And as we head into the weekend, we are looking at rain coming into the picture as we head into Saturday, and that will be more toward the evening hours. Coming up in the next half hour, I'll walk you through our storm tracker maps that take us out into the weekend. So if you do have any plans, we'll have a look at that. And then Sunday, it looks like 43 degrees, maybe a falling temperature. So the temperature should cool off throughout the day. And any showers that should be around would begin to transition to snow showers with snow lingering into Monday morning.
Thanks, Danielle. Everywhere you go these days are signs saying sale, sale, sale. Our consumer advisor explains why you may not always be getting a bargain. With the way 2020 is gone, you may have noticed a different vibe with holiday cards this year, the changes people are making to send the right message to family and friends. One of the joys of the holiday season is receiving cards from family and friends. More than 1 billion are mailed each year in the U.S., and the tradition continues this year, but the cards might look a little different. Dan Sheneman has details.
One sure sign the holidays are here is the arrival of cards in your mailbox. Like most everything this year, holiday cards may look a little different. 2020 lending itself to a little humor.
Just instead of Happy Holidays says, this year was fine, everything is fine.
The craft site Etsy has seen an increase of 23% in searches for holiday cards compared to this time last year. Many shops have selections that reference masks, hand washing, and even a dumpster fire emblazoned with 2020. We survived.
I do think you can nod to the current moment without being crass.
The Spruce's editor-in-chief, Melanie Berlier, says if you're sending cards, be mindful of who is on your recipient list.
This is not a year to send a holiday card that might be construed as a brag card or even a humble brag card.
Berlier says keep these tips in mind as you craft your family card. Add an expression of gratitude or acknowledgement if it's been a tough year. Include life updates rather than material accomplishments. And finally, if you use a photo, make sure your backdrop is modest.
It's just too insane. I'm like, we're having it in the middle of a pandemic. We'll probably just do Zoom calls.
If the thought of mailing cards is too much this season, think outside the box.
Love the idea of, instead of sending a holiday card, sending a New Year card or even a Valentine's Day card.
Something to look forward to as we say goodbye to a very long year. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
Amen to that. The Postal Service says to get those cards in the mail by this Saturday. That'll give you an on-time delivery. From Eastern Europe to Western PA, the role puppies played in an international crime ring. And once you get the COVID vaccine, there's a new hurdle. How do you prove it? What millions of Americans might have to do if they plan on taking a flight or simply going to a concert. The world's fight against COVID taking a big step forward. People in the UK started getting the Pfizer vaccine. Here in the U.S., the FDA is set to hold a meeting Thursday to review an emergency use application for that same vaccine. If approved, doses could start shipping right away. And once that process gets moving, proving you've been vaccinated is going to be vital. And tech companies are designing ways to show that. Jolene Kent shows us how.
With vaccines on the horizon, new health apps are springing to life. IBM and Clear, the tech company known for expediting security screenings at airports, are both creating new apps to take in real-time vaccination information. They could eventually be used for admission to concerts and live sports.
So here's how it works. The app gives you a health pass to show before you go into big stadiums like this, to streamline the process, to make it safer and faster for you to get to your seat.
It'll flash green if your health information meets requirements.
A stadium or a venue would not see your personal health data. Everything is opt-in and you control your information.
But how much information will Clear have, even though the stadium may only see the green?
It's a secure identity platform. We don't hold your health data.
The LA Football Club, a Major League Soccer team, says Health Pass is part of their reopening plan next year.
How much do you need technology like this to be able to fill these seats again?
It's going to be a must. It's an expectation of government officials that ultimately will decide when and how we can bring fans back. We also want to know that when we get up to go to a concession stand, when we walk into the team store, that the other people that came through the gates and are here with us are also safe.
For live events, Ticketmaster is exploring several options, including a smartphone verification system for vaccination status and negative tests. The Australian government has also said it may require proof of vaccination in the future for entry into the country. A glimpse into a vaccinated future and a new normal. Jolene Kent, NBC News, Los Angeles.
CVS is hiring thousands of employees to help distribute the coronavirus vaccine. The pharmacy chain is looking for extra nurses, pharmacists, and pharmacy techs. It's their top priority right now, and they're urgently filling positions so that they can be ready when the vaccine is approved. Both CVS and rival Walgreens are preparing to vaccinate millions of people for the coronavirus next year. The first vaccines could possibly be delivered as soon as December 15th. Those are slated for healthcare workers, frontline workers, and nursing home residents. There are two big issues parents want to address in Pittsburgh's public schools budget. They want more counselors and mental health support and better resources for online learning. The board asked for input as it works to fill a $32 million deficit in the 2021 budget. We listened in on the hearing, and a lot of parents also asked to get rid of school police.
We need to stop spending our scarce funds on entities that exist to criminally cite and arrest our children.
Parents say getting the right resources to effectively learn from home is also a big issue. Right now, Pittsburgh Public is doing virtual learning until at least January 4th. There is another meeting next week where the board plans to adopt the budget. Chuck Yeager, the test pilot known as the fastest man alive, has died. John Berman looks back at the life of the World War II flying ace whose legacy was cemented in the book and film The Right Stuff.
General Charles M. Chuck Yeager was the very embodiment of the right stuff. He will forever be known as the first man to break the sound barrier. Born in 1923 in rural West Virginia, Yeager says he was not a born pilot.
I didn't know anything about flying because I'd never been in an airplane in my life.
Yeager joined the Army as an aircraft mechanic at the start of World War II. His first airplane ride didn't go so well.
I puked all over my airplane. I said to myself, man, you've made a big mistake.
Pressing on, Yeager took advantage of an Army program that offered enlisted men the opportunity to become pilots.
I remember March 4th, 1944, on my 8th mission, I shot down ME 109 right over the middle of Berlin with the Mustang. Next day, I got shot down.
When the war ended, Yeager returned to California to marry his sweetheart, Glennis Dickhouse. Yeager later became a research pilot at Edwards Air Force Base, making dangerous test flights civilian pilots couldn't or wouldn't do.
It's like combat. You know, you either get killed or you don't. Well, if you have no control over it, don't worry about it.
That's how he found himself 45,000 feet above Rogers Dry Lake in California on October 14, 1947. Breaking the sound barrier, a feat many believed could not be done.
I don't look at things, you know, as being scary or not. You either do or you don't. And if you live, hey, you've done your job.
Yeager eventually returned to combat flying and retired from active duty in 1975 as a brigadier general. The general, as he preferred to be called, became a household name in the 80s with the book and movie The Right Stuff.
Did you like watching someone else play you?
Yeah, it was fun. Sam Shepard did an excellent job.
Sam Shepard did,
yeah.
right?
Through it all, Yeager remained airborne. In 2012, at the controls of a borrowed Air Force F-15, an 89-year-old Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier again, 65 years to the minute after his first sonic boom. Yeager's logbook documented more than 10,000 flight hours over 60 years in 350 different kinds of planes around the world. Always a pilot with the right stuff.
Wow. Yeager was born in Myra, West Virginia. That's about an hour outside of Charleston. He was 97 years old. The worst of times is the best of times for thieves, how they're trying to take advantage of the hope for a vaccine to get your personal information. 4 people in our area fell victim to an online puppy scam that was run by a man from Romania. Police say the man would offer puppies and other animals for sale in website ads like this one. He would tell customers that a transportation company would deliver the pet, but then he'd start saying the customer needs to pay more. The suspect was arrested last week and faces wire fraud charges. Cybersecurity experts are warning that hackers are trying to disrupt the supply chain for the COVID vaccine. The threat is directed at companies in charge of the storage and delivery of the vaccine. Homeland Security says the cyber attacks are coming from Russia, China, and North Korea.
We call the vaccine ripple effect, and it's part of the overall cyberdemic that's going to happen in 2021.
And at least one cold storage company says its networks have already been hit. Security experts worry this could affect public confidence in the whole vaccine process. Everywhere you go these days, you see signs saying sale, sale, sale. Our consumer advisor explains why you may not always be getting a bargain. Community groups are struggling during the pandemic, but some of them in our area are getting help from the state. 80 community investment projects are sharing $36 million for community revitalization projects. One in Washington County will support the city mission and its vocational training program. They'll use the money to help with donated clothes.
This project will provide work readiness job training to approximately 60 residents per year. It will remove approximately 300,000 pounds per year of textile waste from the county waste stream.
The city mission is a Christian rehabilitation center for the homeless in Washington County. Kia is recalling about 295,000 vehicles in the United States because the engines could catch on fire. The affected models include some 2012 to 13 Sorrentos, Fortes, Optima hybrids, Soul, and Sportage vehicles. Owners will be notified and dealers will make the repairs for free. Every store right now is advertising so many big sales, but our consumer advisor Clark Howard explains you're really not always getting a bargain.
When you're shopping for Christmas, I need to warn you about the special problem with Christmas pricing. Everything you see, everywhere you go, everything sale, sale, sale. But let me tell you how the game's played. A huge percent of merchandise that's sold for Christmas are things that aren't sold normally in the store. They've never been sold at the price they tell you was the price. The price is all that matters. So I don't care if the sign says 50% off, 30% off, 70% off. The actual real price of that item is what you see right there. So don't allow them to trick you. Sometimes you want to be tricked. Oh, I'd love to have that item. Just be straight out and honest with yourself. And if an item is one that you could buy other places, comparison shop on your smartphone. Ton of apps you can use to do real-time price comparison to see if the deal you see is a deal or no deal at all. Protect your wallet. I'm Clark Howard.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Well, good afternoon. Taking a look at our temperatures across the area. If you are just joining us, it is a cold one out there. If you just go over to your front door, I'm sure you can feel that colder air coming in. Temperature right now in Pittsburgh is 32 degrees. It's 34 in Greensburg, and the temperatures are not going to climb a whole lot this afternoon. Forecasting a high of 35 degrees, and it'll feel even colder when you factor in the wind. Right now, the sustained wind is 14 in Pittsburgh, and we've seen them as high as about 15 miles per hour, and they could gust up to 20 from time to time today. Wind chills right now ranging from 22 in Pittsburgh to 26, it feels like, in Indiana. It's the heavy coats for us this afternoon as the air temperatures only climb to 35. We'll keep the gust to 20, which puts the wind chills down in the 20s for the remainder of the afternoon. Storm tracker hour by hour does show for the rest of the day today the cloudy sky here. However, the latest model data has been showing a little bit of breaks in the clouds, so we will look for that, maybe cross our fingers to see a few peaks of sun, but I think the clouds will win out, especially by later this evening and overnight tonight. You can see that there at 9:30 p.m. on our storm tracker maps. Not a whole lot of moisture to work with today. Tomorrow, we do have a weak weather disturbance that'll be crossing to our north and our east. So we'll have some light snow, I think, especially across northern, north central PA, and perhaps even a little light snow dipping into our north and eastern counties. Flurries potentially for the rest of us for the day tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on it. Our forecast lows in the morning tomorrow will be ranging from about 28 in Butler to 30 degrees in the Pittsburgh area. So another cold start to the day tomorrow. And your morning planner shows the hour by hour where some temperatures could dip into the upper 20s. We've had a hard time getting there the last couple of mornings. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to get closer to average with a forecast high near 42. It'll be cloudy, but we're going to have a southwest wind, which is more of a warming wind for us across the area. So that will help allow the temperatures, I think, to push at least close to 40 across a good part of the area. The winds will still be out of the west-southwest, breezy from time to time, anywhere from 5 to 15 miles per hour. High temperatures across the rest of the region tomorrow, about 41 in Greensburg, 42 in the Uniontown area, and near 40 out in Indiana. Here's a look at our storm tracker maps as we head closer to the weekend. As promised, a look at the timeline here because the latest data does show that the rain should hold off into the evening and night hours as we head into Saturday. So it'll be raining during the overnight period and into early Sunday morning. We could get a few breaks in the action as we head through the morning on Sunday before some more moisture fills back in throughout the day, and the temperatures do cool off on Sunday, so whatever is out there will eventually be changing to, or at least mixing with, some snow on Sunday. 5-day forecast, 47 Thursday, decreasing clouds. 50s will feel great on Friday. Weekend is showing mid-50s on Saturday, falling temperatures Sunday with a rain-snow mix developing and perhaps even some lingering snow showers into next Monday morning.
And here's local Steals and Deals, Lisa Robertson.
I have something that's going to change the way you think about real estate. Whenever you buy a home, what's one of the things you always look for? How many fireplaces does the house have? How would you like to have a little portable fireplace wherever you want it? More than a candle, less than a big fireplace, a beautiful little fireplace with your own little clean burning fire that you can use to relax or meditate or just calm down or have a little warmth or a little ambiance, indoors or outdoors, whenever you want. That's what this is. This is the flicker fire. And I love this idea because it really is a beautiful little mini fireplace. So these are made in Tennessee. So I'm a little partial to that because I was raised in Tennessee. They use a proprietary cement, and then they have a base on it so it's not going to scratch anything. You can use isopropyl rubbing alcohol from 71 to 90%. You just put the alcohol in and then you light it. And if you put 5 ounces of alcohol in, it'll burn almost an hour. So now you have a clean burn, and you can actually roast marshmallows. You can make s'mores. You can have these outside on a fall afternoon or a fall evening when all the family is hanging around. When you have company over, it's going to be amazing ambiance. If you love to meditate and you want something to just help you calm and be focused, this is going to be perfect. I think it's one of the most amazing gifts because we all have those people in our lives where you're going, what do I get them? They have everything. Do they have a mini fireplace? I bet they don't, but now they can. And I love the fact that I feel like having a number of them is better. One is good, but I love having 3 of them down the center of a table for a dinner party. I love having a few to sit around outside with your patio set. I love having a number of them around. They are such a fabulous gift idea. Right now on localsteels.com, they're 30% off. I think it's one of the best ideas going into gift giving and going into the colder season. It's the perfect little mini fireplace, the flicker fire.
There's a Queen's Gambit Chess Institute in Shadyside teaching young people life skills through chess. And our partners at the Trib learned they're getting a lot of attention because of the Queen's Gambit show on Netflix. In fact, the success of that show has led to a chess boom in Pittsburgh. And the Shadyside Chess Institute has added classes for adults online. Breakdancing will be an official Olympic event starting in 2024. It's going to be the first dance sport at the Olympics, and organizers hope it will attract a younger audience. Skateboarding, sport climbing, and surfing also debut in 2024. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5. Have a wonderful day.